Oh, what could have been? What could have
Oh,
been? The Kings were right there. They had a chance to upset the Nuggets without Malik Monk, without Domantas Sabonis, and they got outscored 32-17 in the fourth. The Nuggets came alive, Ryno, and at the end, they win it 116-110.
Kings with 9 points in the first 8 minutes and 20 seconds of the first quarter, Grant. Tells
How
you
about that?
everything you need to know right there. I'm going to just ask you the question everybody's talking about. Problem with the refs tonight, Napes?
Yeah, I did have a problem. I thought the Kings got the short end of the whistle. You know me, I don't normally talk about the officiating, but I will talk about it when I think it's warranted. And I thought tonight there were some real questionable calls that changed the momentum of the fourth quarter. What about you?
Yeah, I'm with you. The Kings did not shoot a free throw until they did not shoot a free throw from the first quarter until the fourth quarter with 7:22 left in the fourth. That's a long time to go for a team
Yep,
that came out physical, Grant, right out of
yep.
the gate. They let Denver feel them. They brought the fight to them. I thought they should have got a better whistle.
Yeah, I don't talk about, you know me, I don't talk about the officiating very often, but I
Yeah.
do think the Kings got the short end of the whistle in this game.
It,
I also have to give Denver credit. You know, they are a championship pedigree team, and they just find ways to stay in ball games. I thought the Kings could have blown this team out during certain stretches of the game. I really did, Ryno.
yeah,
And Denver kind of kept the game manageable, if I can
right.
use that word. And they used their experience down at the end, and they end up winning at 116-110. They've now won all three games against Sacramento, with another game coming up on the 10th of next month. But boy, this thing was looking really, really good until about what? You kind of got it. What was it? About 8 minutes left in the fourth. You kind of got the you know?
I'm gonna kind of, and I know DeMar DeRozan was cooking. He passed
Yep.
Patrick Ewing on the scoring list. He
Yep.
had a big third quarter, but you know what worked really well in the first quarter? I'm gonna give you the shot attempts. DeRozan 4, Keegan 2. Let me make sure I'm on the right quarter so I'm not lying. Yeah, 4 for DeRozan, 2 for Keegan, 4 for Valanciunas, 3 for Levine, 4 for Ellis, 5 for Laravia, and 2 for Lyles.
Yeah.
They were playing team basketball. The ball was moving, and
Yep.
Denver had a problem guarding that way.
And not a lot of turnovers. Although Denver, to their credit, I think the first 5 turnovers that the Kings had, the Nuggets turned in the 13 points. That's taking advantage of the
Sure.
turnovers, which ended up being a pretty pivotal statistic in this game. But I'm with you. I think you bring up a very good point. I don't know if I should get down on the Kings for this game or just give Denver credit for being a championship pedigree team. I don't think they're going to win the championship this year, but the point is the guys on their team have been there, they've done it, and they were playing without a starter too, and Aaron Gordon, who's pretty important to them.
Yeah.
But Westbrook's played very well for them this year. You know about Murray, you know about Jokic, who was questionable. I'm not that down on this. I'm looking at the road trip as a whole. Listen, you beat a bad Utah team, which you had to do. You took advantage of Houston, who's struggling right now. You did what you had to do against Dallas when they were shorthanded. You were right in this game tonight, and Denver's a good team.
Yeah, they are. I'm not down on the loss, but I am going to point out the things that the Kings could have done, the things that the Kings need to do if they want to make it into a playoff series, if they want to win a playoff series. I'm going to give this to you first. Should Doug Christie have called a timeout?
Yes.
Down 3, 2 timeouts left, 47
Yes.
seconds left.
I knew what you were going to say before you even said it. I was very surprised by that. Doesn't mean you're going to win the game, but I was a little surprised. You had 2 timeouts. If you had 1 timeout, I would say no.
Right.
You want to save that timeout for a game-ending sequence if it comes down to that. But I was a little surprised by that. Yes.
I get that Zach LaVine was cooking. He was on fire. He'd hit a couple hard shots in a row. But Grant, you're playing without Domantas Sabonis and Malik Monk.
Yes.
You got to draw something up at that point. And Zach didn't really get a particularly good look either. It was a long fade away from the elbow. And
not a good look.
That's where the game really was lost. That was the Kings' opportunity. So going forward, I hope the coaching staff looks at that. I hope everybody realizes through this entire thing that we've talked about, the refs not doing well, missing players, the Kings still had a chance to win this game. And I say probably should have won this game.
I think they should have won the game too. We always talk about minutes again, right?
Yeah.
DeRozan played 43 minutes in this game, and Zach LaVine played 41. And I understand you're down 2 starters, and so 2 of your bench players then go up to the starting unit. And I understand that you don't have the bench that you normally have in terms of the depth. But boy, oh boy, we're seeing so many guys get hurt now in the NBA. 43 minutes is a lot of minutes at the end of a road trip for DeMar DeRozan. A lot of minutes.
You know who was near the top of minutes played before they got hurt? Kyrie Irving.
Yes, I know. Yep. And Jason Kidd's already, talking about don't make a correlation between the two. And, in the way Kyrie got hurt, I would agree. I mean, if you watch the replay, I don't think that had anything to do with it. It was just, one of those things. But I'm going to do a rant on this. Matter of fact, I'll do it on the show tonight. I won't give it away because I'm very perplexed by what's going on in the NBA. Everyone's talking about the officiating. I agree. And again, I don't harp on the officiating. I thought it was a poorly officiated game. I think it's fair to, criticize the officiating when it's just. I don't do it too often, but I will do it when I think it's warranted. And I just thought it was a very poorly officiated game from the Kings' perspective in this game. You know me, I don't normally say that, but I can't ignore it tonight.
Yeah, you gotta put it in the story if that's what we're gonna write about what happened in Denver tonight. I think the Kings went away a little bit from some of the things that were successful in the first half. They had 42 points in the paint in the first half. Denver only had 20. Denver is the best team at scoring in the paint. And so I just think the attack kind of fell off a little bit. And Denver takes you out of things, Grant. Denver takes you out.
Well, they have a great coach, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I'll tell you something else. I know Michael very well. I still stay in touch with him. And Michael said it. I don't have to say it for him. He has got a disgust. No, he does for
You're being nice.
For Vivek Ranadive, and justifiably so. And if you ask Michael Malone, of all the teams in the league, the one team that he hates to lose to the most, he would say Sacramento. So the players in that locker room know that as well. They do this for Michael as much as anything in this game. Michael Malone doesn't hate the Kings. I think I misspoke earlier. He doesn't hate the Kings. He actually has affection for the Sacramento community and the fan base. He loved living there. He loves the fans. He has no issue with that. His issue's with the owner. And I understand it. He should have an issue with the owner.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay says Denver tightened the defense. I don't disagree with that, but Grant, I also think the Kings kind of made some bad decisions on defense. This was the massive 3 by Jamal Murray down the stretch. If I'm Jake LaRavia, I am not doubling Jokic here and leaving Jamal Murray.
Stupid. Makes no sense.
You can't do it. And Grant, that's about as easy a pass as Jokic is ever going to make in his career right there as well, hands down.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just you're out of position defensively. It's not smart basketball. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I don't want to get on Jake too much. He played a wonderful game. I thought he attacked Jokic exactly how you should, brought him out. But it's, Grant, those are the little things that playoff teams don't screw up on.
If that's Russell Westbrook there, then I'm fine with it. I'll give Westbrook an open 3 to not have Jokic beat me. But that's not the case. That's Jamal Murray who will kill you.
He did it once already this year. He beat the Kings at the Golden One Center.
He's done it his entire career. He did it in the NBA Finals in front of a world audience. I mean, that's what the guy does.
Well done. Well said by you. All right, it's your turn. We have laid the groundwork. You take it anywhere you want to take it. Ralph, kicking us off tonight.
Hey, guys. I'm glad you guys are talking about it. And, with the ref situation, it was disappointing. I love Jokic, and I think he's a great player. He's a superstar. But the flailing and the ticky-tack fouls that he gets, that I will say maybe Domas doesn't get, but definitely that Jokic gets. Did you thought it was more excessive than usual? Because it seemed like a lot to me. And he flops and he does these things that he contorts his body that a way that a 250+ pound player shouldn't. I don't know. It was perplexing.
Really quick, Ralph. Grant, do you think the leagues kind of got away from the flopping calls? It was the point of emphasis last year.
Well, yes, and what they're doing now is they're looking at video after the fact and finding players if they feel
Okay.
that's the case. But that has no bearing on a call that should have been made
Sure.
or wasn't made during the game. That doesn't help you. But yes.
Sure.
Yeah, and some key things too. I guess we can debate if this was really a foul or not. Was that high five foul to
Yep.
Keon Ellis to Jamal Murray? I don't know if it was or wasn't. Like you can't blow on a 3-point shooter, but for some reason you can kind of get a lot more contact in the paint. It's always confusing to me with the NBA of what they allow with a shooter versus a player in the paint.
Well,
yeah, in all fairness, the officiating crew is pretty good tonight. Ed Malloy, the crew chief, is
Yeah,
one
he's
of the
good.
best. Justin Van Doon, again, very good. And again, I'm not saying this to diminish the female official on the floor, but she's in the lower third of officials. Okay. In other words, I judge my officials this way, Ryan, and maybe I'm wrong for doing this. I judge the officials when I see their names based on how many conference finals and NBA finals they've worked. Like that's how I judge the officials. And Ed Malloy's, the crew chief's,
He's
one of the
up
best.
there,
Now, that
yeah.
doesn't mean he can't have a bad game. Okay.
Sure.
I thought the crew tonight had a bad game. The crew had a bad game.
No,
I think
yeah, right.
Ralph, I think there is a difference though in plays. Believe it or not, the 3-point shot, especially the guys that have a heavy jump to their shot, it's a dangerous play for them. That's why they're looking at landing zones. They're looking at unusual movements in the paint, a little bit different at times, but yeah,
Yeah,
a little bit in the middle with
for
tonight
sure.
with the refs.
One play I want to ask about was it was towards the end of crunch time there where Zach is trying to get that handoff from Valanciunas. Do you credit Nuggets defense with just the active hands there, or maybe Levine going a little bit too early with that handoff from Valanciunas there, where it was a turnover? It was like a 3-point or 5-point swing there, or do you think it's a little bit of both, where Levine kind of just miscommunicated with JV on that? What looked like a DHO.
I'm putting it on Coach Christie. I don't think you run DHO with those two. Valanciunas is not a DHO guy.
No,
And
he's not.
Levine
That's not what he does. No.
and Levine has not been particularly great in the basketball IQ category. And the DHO, or dribble handoff, for those that don't know, is a play that is based off of reads. There's multiple elements to it. I think you're running a different play. The pick and roll was way more effective tonight, Grant.
It's a great super chat, and we thank you very much. We haven't talked about this. This is spot freaking on. Again, and the one at the end of the first half sticks out in my mind with 0.6 of a second left.
Yeah.
Valanciunas fouled Murray, and Mortis, thank you very much for that. You're spot on. I do think that ended up being, a real factor in the outcome of this game.
So does that, and I'm asking the chat, asking you, Ralph, asking you, Grant, does that make this one that much harder to take when we start digesting this and looking at these little things that could have been the big difference?
Yes, because now you're tied with the Clippers, and you had a chance to continue to move up in the standings. Minnesota won tonight, so you lose a game on them. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And Phoenix last night, that made me
Oh my God,
sick.
Yes, but
Absolutely.
But I'm not so sure who you wanted to win that game last night from Sacramento's perspective.
I put a tweet out. I said, there is a no win in this situation.
Yeah.
I just didn't like Phoenix finding something with Colin Gillespie.
I don't want Phoenix to feel like they're still in it because they play Sacramento twice. I want them to kind of feel like they're buried and wave the white flag. But a game like last night, you can put the white flags away maybe, right? But again, I looked at Phoenix's schedule. It is brutal. It is absolutely brutal, their schedule.
It very much is. Hey, Ralph, we appreciate you leading off. Good job, buddy.
All right, thanks.
I'm gonna put this to the chat. I put it to Jerry Reynolds earlier today, and I'm gonna put it to you as well. We keep talking about the brutal home stretch. I will put it up here in a second. I actually think that there's 4 games in the next 5 that are more important than any game in that home stretch. The first is San Antonio. From a morale standpoint, from a fan base standpoint, from a momentum standpoint, you can't let De'Aaron Fox come into the Golden One Center and beat you without Wembanyama. The
Correct.
second is Golden State. The third is the Clippers. And the fourth is the team that we were just talking about, Phoenix, because you are in direct competition with most of those teams, one for the tiebreaker. And what we're talking about with Phoenix, don't give them a reason to believe.
You're right about all of that, but I'm looking at the totality of this season, and I'm looking at the teams that the Kings have lost to this year that had me rolling my eyes, and I still don't know with this team. But I would agree with you about the Spurs game. You cannot lose that game to the Spurs. They're not a good team right now. First of all, Fox isn't even playing that well, so let's talk about that. And it's going to be interesting to see what the reaction is for him in 2 nights from now.
I spoke to a season ticket holder today. He's been a season ticket holder for 10 years, and he watches the show. And I said, okay, what do you want? Do you want the Kings to do a tribute to Fox or not? And he said, absolutely. The totality of the work, he gets what happened at the end, because, you know, there's different stories about what happens. And Grant, I think ultimately what the Kings do for Fox is going to be targeted at the season ticket holders and the sponsors, because that's where the most money comes from. What do they want to see?
Well, and that's what's wrong with the Kings. That's why they've been a bottom-dwelling franchise.
Is that a thing, though?
No, you know what? At some point, you got to run the franchise the right way. Okay, you, and I'm not saying that doesn't mean you don't give a tribute for Fox. What I'm saying is you need to run your franchise the right way. All right, you don't run your franchise. I hate to say this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You don't run the franchise based on the fans. You run the franchise the way it needs to be run for the betterment of wins and losses. That's what you do. Okay, that's what you do. And again, I know you might disagree with me, Ryno, but there's been too many instances where the franchise over the years has made the decisions for the wrong reason.
Yeah, because there's the back end too that comes with that. Other players looking at optics, agents telling their guys where to go, not to go. Do you want to go?
You know, it's just like I'll use this as an example, okay? For Vivek Ranadive to go out onto the floor after the Stephon Clark shooting and the protest in downtown Sacramento and condemn the Sacramento Police Department without having any of the facts, okay? You just don't do that, all right? You can go out onto the floor and say, hey, you know what? We as a community need to come together. We need to stay together right now during this tragic situation. And listen, anytime somebody loses their life, you have to examine everything about it. But there were no facts at that point. We didn't know all of the facts. We didn't know what led up to it. And to go out onto the floor and condemn the Sacramento Police Department as the owner of your franchise is wrong. Again, you do things the right way. You don't do things because you need to be woke and you need to be politically correct. You need to do things the right way as a franchise. That's just one of many examples that I can give. So, as far as the De'Aaron Fox, here's the deal. I don't care whether you give him a standing ovation or not. It's not going to make a difference. It really isn't. To me, I don't care. Go out and win the game. That's all I care about. Go out and win the game. You want to go out and give De'Aaron a standing O? Go out and give him a standing O. You want to cheer every time he touches the ball? Cheer. Just win the freaking game. That's all that matters.
I don't think the Kings knew what to do the night that you are talking about. I was part of the crowd that was in the streets trying to get into the building that night. And I know the Kings didn't exactly know what to expect from a protest standpoint, but we had to find out through X that they were no longer going to be letting people in. It was kind of an unsettling, scary situation. People were breaking through the premium entrance and you just didn't really know what was going on.
It was a very volatile couple of days in Sacramento. I get that. And I understand as an owner, you're trying to do, well, first of all, it wasn't Vivek. It was the people that are the presidents, Martina and John, and that's their job too. Their job is to analyze and try to do what's best for the franchise. And sometimes they make the right decision, and sometimes they don't. And there was a lot of pressure on the organization at that time because their games were being affected.
Yeah.
All right, you had 2,000 people in the arena instead of 17,000 because of the protest outside and the. I don't want to use the word danger, but I'll use the word safety for everyone in the downtown area because of the unknown. Those are very difficult decisions to make at that time. They're not easy, and I would not want to be in position of having to make a decision. But I certainly would not go out onto the floor and in my statement condemn the Sacramento Police Department without knowing what the facts are.
As a member of the Sacramento Police Department standing in the tunnel protecting you, probably.
Right. And I will tell you, because I have a lot of friends in law enforcement, both in the sheriff's department and the Sacramento Police Department. To this day, they're still extremely bothered by that and were pissed as an entire organization. It was uniform. And I understand that. I get that. It's not easy being in law enforcement, and it's not easy when you come under public scrutiny, especially when you're under public scrutiny and being accused wrongly. That's bad. Sometimes you deserve to be criticized as a law enforcement agency. I mean, you do deserve it. I mean, but there are times when you don't.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you for the super chat, Alan. I disagree with half of your statement about Keegan because he's very reliable on the defensive end. Fultz, Grant, you think he is a G League player?
Well, I don't know if he's a G League player, but I told you this from day one. He doesn't move the needle for me.
Yeah.
And I don't get excited over Markelle Fultz. There's a reason why he was available. There's a reason why he hasn't been able to stick on a team. I know you talk about his defense, but as a point guard in the NBA, I'm sorry, I need to have more than what I'm seeing from him when he's on the floor. In all fairness to him, though, he's not really getting a run. Although in the last game in blowout mop-up time, what did he play? 16 minutes.
16, yeah.
So I'm not sold on Fultz. I think as I said, there's a reason why he was available. I am sold on New Works Plumbing. No, they've got a fix for you. They're available around the clock, 24/7 for your plumbing needs and repairs. Just go and call the number on your screen or go to sacserviceplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. They are awesome. And don't forget about Sunrise Landing, the newest residential community in Colusa. You go to ColusaSunrise.com and you can get all of the information that you need from Blazona Development. All right. Here are your models to choose from. 6 in all, no Mellorews, no homeowners, and it's good access to the major arteries adjacent to the Colusa Golf and Country Club. Sunrise Landing. Check it out by going to ColusaSunrise.com. That's ColusaSunrise.com. I want to make this statement. I know that you've been DMing. If you are on hold and you DM us to let us know that you're on hold, we are not taking your phone call. Okay? Do not DM us. No, I'm just telling you right now. That does not include tonight's show. In the future, if you're on hold and you send us a direct message telling us that you're on hold, you're not coming on the show. Do not bother us in the middle of a show with DMs. Don't do it. If you do it, you're not coming on. All right? Fair warning. That does not mean tonight. That's in the future going forward.
And if you are a first-time caller or a caller that calls almost every show, if you see us and you're watching and you're in Restream, you are on hold. You're good to go. We will come to you. It's just the DMs pop up and block our entire system. So, Bryce, thank you for the super chat. Did Fultz take a step back tonight, Names?
He didn't take a step back. He hasn't taken a step forward yet. So
Great
I'm not.
point.
No, he didn't take a step back.
Great point indeed. All right, back to the phones. Tay, thanks for waiting.
Hey, good evening, guys.
Good evening.
Yeah, so, a tough loss regardless of whether, Denver's a good team or not. Ryno kind of touched on this, but I thought Doug Christie could have done a better job with the timeouts. If I'm not mistaken, he didn't call a single timeout in the third quarter until 2 minutes left, and Denver was sort of making a run during the entire quarter. And even at the start of the fourth quarter, I didn't think that Christie called timeouts when necessary. I thought he's been doing a good job in the last couple games, to stop the bleeding and momentum when necessary. But I don't know if it was just with the flow of the game tonight, but I thought he could have done a better job. I thought they really missed the bonus tonight from having another passer on the floor. I thought there were stretches where DeRozan held it too much himself. He had a good game. He was efficient, but I thought the ball could have moved more. And I think Levine and DeRozan played little too much of a two-man game at stretches without swinging the ball around. And I think overall the 3-point defense still has to get better. There were many stretches where Christian Brown and Westbrook had way too many open shots. They didn't make all of it, but there were good stretches where there wasn't a man nearby those shooters. So still a lot of things to clean up, but I'm glad that they took up business during this road trip so that this one win doesn't necessarily kill them. I see that Pistons are leading the Clippers by 2 in the third quarter, so hopefully Pistons can pull out that win tonight to give us some breathing room. And I think for Friday's game, in my opinion, I think the Kings should roll all over the Spurs. Their starting center is Bismack Biyombo, for crying out loud. So looking forward to getting back on the win column on Friday. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you. Good job.
By the way, the Pistons are playing as well as anyone in the league right now other than Cleveland.
Yeah, they got the Kings bump when you come back and win a game on a 4-point play, Nape. So you're off to the races the rest of the season, buddy. Is Mason better than Fultz? We haven't seen enough Fultz to make that determination. And I know Mason had a massive night in Stockton last night. Couldn't be happier for the guy. Love his energy. Fires me up every time I see him. I meet him at his energy. But
I hear great things about Mason Jones as a person, and
he's incredible.
My son knows him very well and speaks very, very highly of him. I don't pay attention to stats in the G League unless they're bad. I expect NBA caliber players, if I can use that term without being disrespectful to G League players, because many of them don't ever step onto an NBA floor. Mason Jones, to me, does not fit in that category. He is an NBA caliber player, if I can use that term.
Sure.
I expect him to play well in the G League. Okay. I expect Devin Carter, when he's in games in the G League, to play well and put up numbers. If they don't, then I get nervous. Skal Labissiere, I expect to put up good numbers in the G League because he is more of an NBA caliber player. So I don't look at the numbers like you or others, and I'm not saying this in a negative way. What I'm saying is, if you're an NBA caliber player, and the names that I just mentioned all are, you should excel in the G League.
Spot freaking on. We had that conversation on the Kings court the last 2 days about Devin Carter and his numbers. I will say this, Johnny. I'm not going to say who's better, but I think Mason, at this point in the season, with Fultz having a year off, learning the system, getting back into the swing of NBA shape, I think Mason could be better fit to get a couple of those minutes, because what they're running down in Stockton is very similar to what they run in Sacramento, very high paced. If you get scored on, you're running back and forth, and Mason is really the facilitator down there. The defense, though, is the problem for Mason. That's what I worry about.
Yeah, it's a real problem. And guess what? They don't have Jamal Murray's down in the G League.
They got Tate Washington, though. That guy's pretty good.
Hey. No, but I think I like the upside on Mason, and I like what they're doing with him in Stockton. And, you have to continue to develop him, and you never know. You'll see what you get.
What Mason has done in his time in Stockton and Sacramento, both on the floor and personally, has been incredible. I can't, like what you said, I can't say enough about the guy. I love him. Run up and hug him every time I see him. Dirk, what's up, dude?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Dirk, what's up?
Guys. And it always feels like Denver has a big fourth quarter and waiting for you, like they didn't really turn it on till the end. I'm a bit concerned with Zach LaVine's lack of aggression in the first half, about not finding his offense, and maybe just
Only
the lack
took,
of a
what,
bag.
5 shots in the first half, or 4 shots, I think.
Yeah, in a game where you had DeMar shooting 32 shots, Zach played almost as many minutes, but shot half as many.
Yeah, but also understand, Sacramento scored, 65 points at the half? That's pretty good. I mean, that's a lot of offense.
Valanciunas took 10 shots because they were working in the paint. That's what happened.
And he was effective in taking his 10 shots. He shot a high
6 to
percentage. He
10.
made 6 of them.
Yep.
42 in that first, 23 in the second. I think LaVine played some of those second quarter minutes.
All right, so you bring up a good point. I'm okay with your assessment, but I would also say this, Dirk. One thing about the NBA and college, for that matter, you need to feed the hot hand, okay? And that doesn't mean that Zach can't become hot, but you got to go to what's working. And as they're saying is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There really wasn't a lot broken in the first half. So I'm okay with the lack of shots for LaVine, because the Kings were scoring the basketball at a very high clip, over 50%, shooting the ball well from 3. And Dirk, you only have one basketball out there. So I was okay with it.
And don't forget, Jake LaRavia got 7 shots and he made 6 of them.
He had
I agree. And it's not that, guys. Like, remember that DeMar did not have it going initially, right? He had to find that shot, and he got going. But Grant, you said something
LaRavia
earlier.
had 15 points in the first half.
We're talking about DeRozan, though. DeRozan had 15. Yeah.
I know, but again, you have one basketball, and
well, damn it, Grant, get 2 basketballs.
Grant, let me back up a sec, real quick.
Sure.
You said it felt like the Kings could blow this game open, right?
Yes.
I had that same vibe. I was thinking the same thing, and I'm going, where's Zach LaVine's shot? Like, can't we get Zach LaVine an open 3? Why can't we get him open? Like, he always was slowing the pace of the offense. He would dribble it around at the top. I was just hoping he would penetrate more, look for his own shot in certain situations. Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
This has echoes of that early Denver game in December, the beginning of the landslide where the Kings dropped 6 straight, because this game was there for them. Not as much as that, the 20-point comeback in that first, going down 20 in the first quarter back in December. This game, they felt like they were going to be there, but I said that I didn't think we'd have an answer for Westbrook, and it's sad that we just kind of left him to shoot open shots. It felt like this team was playing 4 men on defense and 3 men on offense all night, and it was working sometimes, but then eventually it just kind of fell apart.
You're spot on about Russ. I don't know what happened since he left the Clippers and went to Denver. Jerry and I talked about it earlier, Grant. He's been killing the Kings.
He has been absolutely killing them. Dirk, good call. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Hey, I want to tell you about Element Mortgage, and I want to talk to you about Connor. When it comes to buying a home, selling a home, refinancing, I think trust is number 1 on my list. And then second is experience. And in talking with Connor from Sacramento, grew up in Folsom, there were a lot of things that I was intrigued with. Not super salesy, and he's a common sense guy, and he's got a phenomenal team behind him with over 100 years of experience. Now, we're talking about an independent mortgage bank. They can do anything under the sun with lending programs. This is a one-stop shop. All right, I'm going to give you the number to get in touch with Connor. All right, 916-505-1006. That's 916-505-1006. I know Connor right now is not in a great mood because he is a diehard Kings fan, but I'll tell you one thing he is. He's unbelievably experienced. He's been in the business a long time. Matter of fact, over the last 7 years, 1,000 loans closed. He is somebody that you can trust. 916-505-1006. When it comes to selling, buying a home, refinancing, it's all there for you. Make sure you get in touch with Connor at Element Mortgage.
Yeah, and I vetted and verified those 100 years last show, so we're good.
I appreciate that.
Hey,
Hey, we got a good super chat there, huh?
Oh, I gotta let me get to this really quick because it's an important point, and then we will get to that. Johnny, here's the thing about Mason: you'd have to sign him to a full-time roster spot because G League or
Yes.
two-way guys cannot
Yep.
play in the play-in or the playoffs.
Correct.
Super chat. Wow. Thank you very much. Watching since the boys were wearing red and blue. Grant, you're a part of my childhood. Too scared.
Too scared to call to get yelled at by my hero. Ryan, your analysis spot on. Kings reverted to ISO. I promise you I will not yell at you. Okay. So give me a call. I won't yell at you.
Yeah, first-time callers have been on fire for sure.
Yeah,
definitely do that. Just don't DM.
We appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much.
Yes, very nice of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Back to the phones, Mr. And we see you, Tate. We see you, GP. You guys are coming up next. Chang, what's going on tonight?
Yeah, it's going well. I think overall, I would say this was a successful road trip. Like, I think the only nitpick for this game was the fact that they lost the fourth quarter when Jokic sat down. I think that was the disappointing thing because I think they fought so hard to win the third quarter because Jokic pretty much played the third quarter. And I think they fought to maintain that lead. And it just seemed like they ran out of gas because I think DeMar was, he was just scoring so much in the third quarter that I felt like he couldn't continue that in the fourth quarter. And we needed someone else to kind of pick it up. But I think that's the only, nitpick I have was the fact that we lost the minutes when Jokic sat. But I think overall, I'm just happier with this team's like energy. I think we're concerned with like their first quarter energy. I feel like they're bringing that energy and they're kind of maintaining leads and they're looking a lot better. And I'm just hoping that maybe after Friday's game, there's like no more emotional games and they can just keep playing this steady energy because they look a lot better. And I hope they get healthy. But I'm a lot more excited now, and I'm just kind of wondering what you both are kind of seeing this team. Are you more excited? Are you probably feeling the same, or do you feel that this road trip maybe hasn't tested them yet?
Well, I like what I saw on the road trip, but two of the games were layups, Utah and Dallas. Houston is really struggling right now. And I thought, and again, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I actually was more pleased by what I saw tonight than any of the previous three games. Okay. And they lost tonight, but I like the way they played tonight. If they can play this way during this tough stretch coming up at home. And here's the other deal about the home games, right? Jaren Jackson's out for Memphis.
Yeah.
That could be a big loss for them. He's out. He's on a week-to-week basis, but Cleveland's the real deal. Boston's the real deal, even though you beat them. Milwaukee's got a player that I don't know if anybody's heard of. His name's Giannis Antetokounmpo, who can take over a game. You have Oklahoma City, who is arguably the best team in the league, right? I'm not sure if I'm ready to say that yet, but I did say this after the last game. I said in 2 weeks' time, we'll know. We won't have to ask this question anymore and try to figure it out.
Yeah, happy with the road trip. And by the way, Jalen Wells has been the problem for Memphis this year for the Kings.
Yes.
But happy with the road trip.
Yes.
I love to see how this team continually and consistently rallies around guys when people get hurt. You're going to get the best of the Kings usually. You can hang your hat on that. But I would say this, Chang, on the flip side of the coin, it's like, why can't there be this cohesion when you have the full roster? You don't see all these things being put together. And that's what makes me go back to questioning schemes and styles of play that might benefit everybody rather than just a couple of people.
Very well said. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just want to quick comment on that because I am excited to see when Sabonis comes back because, like, I think you were all mentioning before that. I think with JV, DeMar and Zach, they play such a traditional pick and roll where they have the ball, but Sabonis, he likes to have the ball. So I do want to see when Sabonis is healed if that cohesion continues because it may seem odd because hopefully, with Sabonis reintegrated, we maybe play a more traditional pick and roll where we don't do DHOs or that.
I'm
So
dying
looking
for
for
it,
that,
Shane.
yeah.
I'm dying for
I
it.
think we're all looking for that because I think we're seeing what works right now, and I would just say let's continue doing that instead of maybe reverting back. So yeah,
It's
thank you
worked all
guys.
season. Look at the numbers. So good job, Shane.
Hey, thank you very much. Hey, Ryno, before we go, it is time for a rant with Grant. It's brought to you by EDH Motors Automotive Reimagined. And right now, David and Adam, they are looking to sell your vehicle. If you have a vehicle that you want to sell, get in touch with them. You've got the number and the email on the screen, or I'll put their website up and you can check everything out on their website, edhmotors.com. Two guys trying to do something different and better at EDH Motors. You'll take delivery of your vehicle at the Auto Lounge in El Dorado Hills Town Center, which means no dealership. You don't deal with all of that stuff. And if you go to edhmotors.com and you don't find exactly what you're looking for, if you're in the market to purchase, don't worry about it. With their decades of experience, they'll get it for you. That's EDH Motors, Automotive Reimagined. Get in touch with David and Adam now. And again, they are looking to sell your vehicle. All right, I've got a question. When I was watching my beloved Knicks in the 60s, yeah, I'm old, and in the 70s, I don't recall guys going down like flies. I just don't recall it. I remember Willis Reed got hurt and walked out for the most amazing scene maybe in the history of Madison Square Garden, other than Frazier Ali won or the Rangers winning the cup in '94. But Willis Reed probably might even be above all of that, walking out to play Wilt and the Lakers when the Knicks won their first championship in the 69-70 season. But I don't remember guys getting hurt. When I started doing the games in 1988, we flew commercial. You played 4 games in 5 nights. You had many back-to-backs. Guys played. They weren't going down like flies like I see now in the NBA. And what's puzzling to me is the NBA has done everything to make life easier on the NBA players. No more 4 and 5s, less back-to-backs. Oh, you know what? You're playing at New Orleans, no problem. We'll just leave you there for 3 days and you can play them twice so you don't have to make an extra trip to go back. And we've seen that a lot in the NBA now, where you go into a city and you play twice, which limits the travel. So in theory, the players should be fresher, and in theory, less injuries. And here's another thing that I don't understand. Teams spend millions and millions of dollars by having an excessive staff. When I started doing the games, there was one trainer, Bill Jones, and then Pete Youngman. And Pete had one assistant, and they took care of everything along with the team doctors. Now you got so many freaking people within an organization that are in charge of, like, how many steps did you take today? Oh, I need you to step on this. Let me see how many steps you took while you were just out warming up. I mean, I don't get it. Like, I don't get the science. It doesn't seem to be working to me. Every single day we talk about players that aren't playing, that aren't in the lineup because they're hurt. How come there are so many injuries now? How come the NBA has babied their players? Really, let's just call it the way it is. They've babied their players. Oh, we're not going to travel you that much. Oh, no more 4 games in 5 nights. No more craziness. Not that many back-to-backs. And yet guys are getting hurt, in my view, more and more and more. I don't get it. I don't get it. Stockton and Malone played every game. They practiced every day. Jordan played every game. Bird, McHale, Parrish played every game. The bad boys of Detroit played every game. I can go on and on and on. Why now they don't play every game and there are so many injuries? Ask yourself that question, because I've been asking that question, and quite frankly, I don't have the answer. And that's my rant for tonight.
Very interesting timing on your rant, because Mr. Complicated Jerry Reynolds talked about that today. And he said guys used to take time off after the seasons. They would take time off legitimately. And here's the other thing. You've got a second team of trainers for the players that they hire that are also working with them and doing stuff that sometimes conflicts with the team staff.
Well, and that's a very good point. I'm very close with personnel with the New York Giants, and all of their receivers had their own strength coach during the offseason, and they all got hurt.
There you go.
And there is something to that. More is not better, by the way, in certain situations.
This was a legendary moment. Thank you for the super chat, Donald. Let's listen to this beautiful sound. That was the Locklear game, right? Hey, you're pretty good at it. When Heather Locklear turned around to you?
Yes, it was the Heather Locklear. Yes.
Yep, for sure.
That was the Los Angeles Public Library Game 3 when the Kings blew out the Lakers in the 2002 Western Conference Finals. That is correct.
Yep. All right, we're going turbo round, so we've got a little bit of a hard out tonight. Tate, what's up?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. First call in here. Grant, big fan.
Thank you.
Used to listen back in the early DeMarcus Cousins days. Those are my favorite. But I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
This team doesn't seem to have much of an identity, and I don't really trust Levine just kind of doing his own thing out there. Do you think we need to go back to the sort of big on big identity?
No, I think what you need to do, and I'll ask Ryan as well, is your matchups are determined by the matchups on the other team. The NBA is a matchup league, and certain lineups you have to use certain personnel. And so, no, you can't do the same thing every night unless you have a superior team. And by that, I mean, like if you're a championship, like Denver's going to do the same thing every night, okay? Oklahoma City is going to do the same thing every night. Boston, Cleveland, okay? But when you're the Kings and you have a lot of new pieces and you're still trying to figure it out, you're going to match up based on what the other team's doing very often. Not all the time, but very often.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Grant. The other side of that is just throwing different combinations within the game. Even if you start the same guys, playing different guys together for different spurts. Kings kind of did that tonight, Tate, with Jokic. So,
yeah,
good job.
Do you guys think we could form an identity before
Not
the
this year.
playoffs? No.
I don't. I don't.
Well, well, if you look at some of the numbers since post All-Star break, the Kings believe defensive rating number 1, offensive rating number 5. Doug wants it to be defense. I still need to see more, Grant.
Yeah, I don't go by the ratings since the All-Star break because you played some of the worst teams in the league that were literally not even trying. So that's a little deceiving to me.
See, I should just record what you said and put that on my soundboard, and you can just take 15 seconds off, and I'll just hit that button when I kick that your way.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do to make it up for you. I'm going to show you the food here at Bennett's. Prime seafood and steaks at Bennett's, whether it is the West Side Grill in Rockland or their other locations, Sacramento and Roseville. Bennett's American Cooking, it is awesome. Don't forget about the weekend brunch. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com and make a reservation. That's Bennett'sRestaurants.com to make a reservation. Yes, indeed. Bennett's, absolutely awesome. The West Side Grill or Sacramento or their Roseville location. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, prime seafood and steaks, and tell Brian and the folks that we said hello. We love talking about Bennett's. All right, I'm going to send it over to you. Today's a travel day for me. I've got to leave, but I will be back tomorrow. I will do a show tomorrow. Okay. All right. I will do a show tomorrow at 7 o'clock Pacific.
7 o'clock Pacific it is, my friend. Well, safe travels. No more than 2.4 ounces of liquids in your carry-on, and bring your ID.
I look forward to the show tomorrow. Ryan will take you home. Thank you, everyone. Don't get too down tonight. I saw a lot of positives. Now let's see what happens on this brutal stretch coming up, beginning against the Spurs. Not that that's brutal, but there's going to be a lot of emotion in the game. We'll see what happens. Ryno, have a good rest of the show, buddy.
Appreciate you, Napes.
Bye-bye
All
now.
right, back to the phones. By the way, one quick note on Bennett's. It's not too early to start making those Mother's Day reservations. So get up on Bennett'sRestaurants.com for those early. GP, what's going on today?
Hey, how you
3-second
doing,
delay for GP.
Yep.
What's up, dude?
Hey, not much, man. Just wanted to call in and see. I really wanted Grant to do a future rant on these refs, man. Ridiculous. I get it. Jokic is a superstar. Even LeBron's a superstar. But there's nobody in this game that flops more than superstars nowadays. And we can't even get a hack call that's clearly seen by the whole arena. So I just wanted to, I felt like we had a good game, as long as we keep this pace up, we'll be fine against the Spurs. But sometimes it just feels like we're playing the team and also the refs. It just
I hear
sucks,
you.
for
And
Kings fans.
and
We're turning that corner finally, and I think some of those
the Kings
calls.
are always playing the Kings first before any other opponent. Doug says that all the time. Yeah, I'll pass that along to Grant.
Yeah.
He'll catch that on the replay as well. So appreciate you, GP. Good stuff from GP.
Yeah, no,
Brian,
that
what's up tonight, Brian?
Hey, Ryan. Just
Go ahead.
I enjoyed the game overall. Great effort, but we ran into a problem there at the end. Not only with the refs, but when Trey came in and Valanciunas had a sub and we had to go small. It kind of went on a run, and that's with no Aaron Gordon too. So it just really makes you think. Playing Denver, we could have used Sabonis like Twin Tower style, maybe, because Trey just seemed too small.
Yeah, look, I felt like the Kings did everything they possibly could to a degree with Jokic. Yeah, there was a bad mistake at the end that we pointed out with LaRavia doubling and leaving Murray wide open, but you definitely are probably going to be better with Sabonis on the floor. But I'm kind of like you. I'm hoping we see a little bit more of that double big as the season goes along, especially when you run into that homestand that we've been talking about in the middle of March.
Yeah, and you guys probably hit on it, but that one particular play they called like 4 times for Jokic when we were fronting him, and they had an entry pass to go to the basket, and we were playing good backside help most game, but there was nothing we could do because he would just fall over you. It wasn't even like he was swimming. Katie mentioned it,
Yeah.
like, and she was actually right in that case. Like, he wasn't swimming; he was literally just leaning over the defender while our smaller man was fronting. And what do you do at that point? I mean, he got 3 or 4 fouls like that. It's like, it's a momentum killer for sure. It hurts. I don't like Ed Malloy.
See, I don't have a problem with Ed Malloy. I think it's a problem with the NBA. I mean, it's always been there. It's magnified because of gambling, and the element that has completely thrown officiating off is the one that nobody talks about. It's instant replay. That has really screwed up some of these. I put a tweet out about this last night. These unofficial codes, these things that are passed down, part of the game, fabric of the way games are called for generations of officials. Now you can't really do some of those things, and you've got a new generation of officials that are coming up that are stuck in the middle because replay, it bit everybody. It bit the Kings in the ass last year with the whole Malik Monk play against the New York Knicks. And so they changed the rule, not just because of that play, but it changed because of many plays like it. So I think it's something to keep your eye on. But overall, I think the officials do a pretty good job. Not tonight. Tonight.
No, I'd agree with that. Well, thanks for having me, Brian, and have a great night.
You got it, brother. Appreciate you, Brian. Thanks for hanging in there with me tonight. Grant had to run. We're still taking your calls. If you'd like to call, hit the link right here. Some people saying we're not giving enough love to Jake LaRavia. Absolutely, we gave him some love at the top of the show. He did exactly what you are supposed to do if you are undersized and playing against Jokic. Be aggressive, especially on the offensive end. Jokic does not like leaving that painted area. LaRavia did a heck of a job of it. It's just what Brian just said. You're not going to get all the same calls. Granted, we agree, Grant and I and most of you in the chat, that the Kings did not get a good whistle tonight. But despite the Kings not getting a good whistle, they had opportunities to win this game. There's parts of this game that had they done a little thing different here, little thing different there, this game's different. So still totally positive for the most part coming off of this road trip, But it's just a reminder. We talk about the levels. There's levels to this. The Kings, to me, are showing you are a legit play-in team. Show me now that you can be a legit playoff team. And tonight would have been one of those levels, calling that timeout with 47 seconds left if you're Doug Christie. So it goes across the board with the play and the coaches. But all in all, a very good road trip for the Kings. PK, welcome on, buddy.
Hey, bad boy.
What's up, dude?
Hey, ATU, and hi, everyone in the chat. Hey, Tay, in the chat as well. Hey, I love this team. I think it was tough. It was tough playing without Monk and without Sabonis. Playing in Denver at their home is also very, very tough. But what I saw was we kind of just ran out of gas. You know, we played amazing, and also Ryan, you said something the whole season. You said the best lineup is with Ellis, right?
Yes.
Starting, and it kind of showed today. But I'm not panicked. I'm not I'm actually excited about this.
There's a lot to be excited about. You got San Antonio coming up. I know the fan base is chomping at the bit to get back, not get back, but have De'Aaron here and have an opportunity to hand him one, for lack of a better terms, and especially without Wemby too. So that comes up on Friday night. And again, I said it earlier in the show, I think 4 of the next 5 games are more important than that big homestand we're going to see. But I want to see, when this team's healthy, the same cohesion that we saw tonight. But
yeah, and also, you know what I want to say is everyone relax about JV and Sabonis. Sabonis, first we talked about this, Ryan. Everyone's as soon as JV started playing well, everyone started saying hey, trade Sabonis, have JV. Now everyone is saying, put Sabonis at 4. You guys, you don't understand that Sabonis can't play a 4.
Yes, he can play a 4.
He
played a
play. Ryan, he can't play a 4.
Explain me how he can't play a 4.
The Lithuanian national team has tried this so many times on the national stage. Sabonis is kind of in the limbo of 4 and 5. He's kind of, just because he's almost undersized, but he makes, in a perfect world, Sabonis would be a 4, but he can't play a 4. He just doesn't know how to handle the 4 position.
What?
They tried this on national, on a national stage at FIBA. They tried this at World Cup, at Euros, and everything. Sabonis just can't do it. I don't know why, but he can't. I mean, it's just that's what it is.
All right. Well, I respect your opinion. I guess we would need to see more of it in the NBA. In his early days, he was able to do some of it. So times change.
No,
changes.
he couldn't do it with Turner either when he was with Pacers.
Bro, PK, I respect your opinion, but I respect Jerry Reynolds' opinion more. So, and Jerry feels differently.
Well, I respect Jerry as well. So,
dude, what are you paying everybody in the chat? As you've been on the phone right now, PK for mayor, PK. Dude, what are you doing, man?
Bro, I'm in Mexico, so tequila.
Okay, that's right. You are in Mexico.
Yeah,
working legally too.
Good. Legally, always.
There you go. PK is number 1. Day. Look at this. All right, good job, PK. I'm telling you, between PK and this guy and his microwave, y'all are super polarizing. Baki, what's up, man?
You succeed in make a smile on my face, even though you cannot see it. But I was so sad after the game. But this conversation with PK and all the stuff, you cannot stay normal. I mean, but I will say you this. This time, I'm with PK maybe 99%, because Ryno, okay, I have a great respect towards Jerry Reynolds. He was a coach, and you as well, and everything. But if you take the words from PK, where Lithuanian national basketball team was on, and we saw all the games, and we are watching all the games from all the national teams, like Lithuania, like France, like Serbia and Germany, and one more, Greece, maybe something like that. And trust me, he's 100% right. They tried, even with Valanciunas on 5 and with Sabonis on 4, and even when Valanciunas was not on 5 with other guys, and they tried and they collapsed every time and they lost. They have a hell of a basketball team, but they didn't success, and everybody asked why. And Sabonis was on the 4, and it was so low scoring, just the same like Shea Gilgeous Alexander playing against Canada. I mean, not against Canada, with Canada, playing against us, against everybody. We crushed them easily, and Shea was nowhere. So, uh, opinion that Sabonis is between 4 and 5, like nobody else, in some kind of limbo, is for me correct. But I mean, you cannot try. So this is not experimental league. So you can try, and if it's pay off, okay. It's not okay. Let's forget it and go on. You're gonna miss the games. Every game is crucial. So, but okay, I wasn't here to talk about Sabonis. Laravia, crazy stuff. I mean, trust me on this. I saw all the games from Jokic, and I saw everything from him. Trust me, everything. Not only one time. I mean, sometimes I watch the games multiple times. So nobody, trust me, nobody ever guard Jokic like Laravia did in first 3 quarters. Okay, fourth quarter they lose the gas. That's my opinion too. And everything was great till the end, and Laravia did exceptional job, because Jokic is most dangerous when he puts the first ball on the floor. Then he tries to roll over one shoulder, other shoulder, put the floaters, put everything, put the passes left, right, whatever you can imagine or you can't imagine. But this time, Laravia was breathing on the neck, and in some funny way, in some very strange way, I don't know how, but the guy took him crazy stuff, really. And last thing about referees, I don't want to take this on referees, because this was very tense game, and very physical. You saw what happened with Jokic in every possession. They fight with the guy every. Not only with Jokic, with Porter Jr. of course, and it's not easy for the referees to take the game like this. This is not the game like many others, where you have shooting the ball from all over the place. So this was really low scoring game and very physical game. So it's not easy, even though you have 4 challenges in one game, and took very long to decide it what to happen. So I mean, for me, it was not like fun game. I didn't enjoy. I was like walking on fire, because I was very tense. I hope they can win the game, but they lose the gas in fourth, and they confused some defensive. I mean, maybe from Doug Christie, maybe they lost. What should they do? And offensively, when you rely only on the Rosen shots, okay, he can take 20, he can take 30, but if he missed like he did in the fourth, he missed 2-3 times in a row. That's it. You can kiss goodbye. And that's in short. We can talk about this game till tomorrow.
Amen, man. Wish your 20 Nuggets fans around you would have been bringing you breakfast.
Hey,
and a different
I'm
result.
gonna tell you other time what happened. So one guy one guy crushed his arm against the glass. It was so pissed off because you can imagine what happened in the game. So yeah, it was really crazy. It was really crazy because they are looking like every game is for life. I mean, Denver, Jokic, and those stuff. I mean, I'm the same for the Kings, but I'm much more
Incredible.
calmer. But they are like
you know what's
life is
just so
depending on it.
You know what's so incredible about that to me, Baki, is the fact that the man himself, Jokic, could not care less about the game when he's off the court. That is just what's so incredible about this.
But
It's unreal.
we think that's a little bit of acting somehow.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Hey, dude, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good job. Well done. I got Baki's microwave after me. No, you're not going to burn my lunch. You'll probably burn my dinner because I'm going to microwave my dinner tonight. Anyways, fun show. I guess I got an email here. Says PK can slam a revolving door. When PK turned 18, his parents moved out. Yeah, I guess they've started doing Chuck Norris jokes for PK. Appreciate the clonish behavior and the sarcasm. It goes a long way. Love it. You guys are the best fans here in the NBA. Can't get enough of it. PK and Baki, stop. Why are we talking about Lithuanian basketball? They're both Lithuanian and or Serbian. Stop arguing. Sabonis is a 4. I guess we're going to have another talking point come tomorrow about Sabonis, and it's not going to matter. Doug's not going to start the two of them this year. Jerry Reynolds and I talked about that earlier today on the Kings Court pregame show. Maybe next year if they're both still around. But anyways, we've got a full game tomorrow, or full day tomorrow. Kings Court coming at you at 1 p.m. tomorrow. So make sure that you're all locked in here on the channel for that. And then Grant will be on at 7. The Kings wrap up a 4-game road trip, 3-1 on the road. Pretty damn good. Despite all of the things going against them tonight, they still put up a hell of an effort, but it was not enough. 116-110. They fall to Denver. Remember, Denver was coming off of an East Coast road trip as well. This was their first game back from their road trip. Usually that's a little bit hard. So maybe they woke up in the second half. We've seen the Kings do that many a times before. Thank you again. Thank you, Gabe. Appreciate that very much for the super chat. I did see a question before we go about basically more or less who do the Kings match up with best in the West? And I don't want to future cast too much. We've kind of done this a little bit on the Kings Court because it keeps coming up. The question was specifically targeted to Oklahoma City. I don't think Oklahoma City is a great matchup anymore for the Kings. I thought they were a good matchup last year. I think that's changed a little bit. If I'm looking at where the West is at right now, I hate the Clippers matchup, and that's before Kawhi has been back on the court. Same thing with Ben Simmons. Now, they might go the other way. They're starting to do that. They've struggled here. They lost to Phoenix last night. They were losing last time I checked tonight. I thought the Kings matched up well with Dallas. They're not going to be anywhere near it. Surprisingly, the Lakers, not really in that category for me right now. I don't think they match up great there. I would say I don't have a huge problem with the Denver matchup. I don't. I actually don't. These teams have actually played better games than you think over the past 3 years. So I'm okay there. Houston, definitely okay with. Not a huge fan of Memphis. Golden State, jury's out. Jury is out. So we can talk more about that another time. But Oklahoma City, no thank you. I don't want to see them anytime soon. But I do think there's a lot of teams. Oklahoma City is scary. I do think, though, there's a lot of teams, much like last year, that wouldn't mind running into Oklahoma City again because they're so young. I know they've got another year under their belt. They've got if SGA doesn't get the MVP this year, I quit giving the award out. So you've got him playing out of his mind. I'll just say this, and it's sacrilege. It's going to make your stomach turn because it makes mine queasy. But if the Lakers front line can get it figured out, that is, and Luka can stay healthy, I don't like what's been created there. It's come together sooner than many thought. So, all right, we are out of here. Again, appreciate all of you. Appreciate all of the super chats. By the way, the Kings head home back in action on Friday against San Antonio Spurs and De'Aaron Fox. Looking forward to having full coverage of that one for you here on If You Don't Like That. But again, remember tomorrow, if you're not subscribed, make sure you are. Kings Court, 1 p.m. Grant, 7 p.m. Appreciate all of you. Give us a big thumbs up, a retweet, a like. Goes a long ways. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Go Kings! Light the damn beam. Live to see another day. The Kings, losers tonight, but winners overall on this road trip, 3-1. So long.